Last season on this broadcast, we focused on being suspended from school as part of our back to school month, which is back in July, which is the last season. Now, just one day ago, a Shepherd student was suspended over Friday's threat, which was 2 days, which was on 2 days ago. Sorry, a student has been suspended after posting a threat concerning Shepherd High School early Friday morning. Another student notified an administrator of the 7 a.m. posting, and Shepherd police were at home with the poster when the minutes department said. Police said the threat does not appear credible, but the student is suspended, and with the details will be referred to Isabella County prosecutors for possible criminal charges. Police praised the student who notified authorities. Students should always understand the importance of immediately reporting any threat behavior, whether it occurs on school grounds, after school, or on social media, if they continued. So really, I'm really glad this stuff happened. But there's probably more people being suspended. Like this one. 2 weeks ago, a Canadian Catholic school student who was suspended for protesting gender bathroom policy, he spoke out telling his side of the story. Josh Alexander, he was the suspended one. He's a 16-year-old student in 11th grade at St. Joseph's Catholic High School in Canada. This month, he was suspended for expressing his religious and moral objections to the school's transgender bathroom policy. St. Joseph's Catholic High School in Renville, Ontario allows males identifying as transgender girls to use bathrooms designated for females. Alexander was first suspended for protesting the school's transgender policy in November on the grounds he was bullying. When he tried attending class on February 6th, he was subsequently suspended again and arrested for trespassing. He has since been released, but remains barred from attending classes through the end of the school year. Now he spoke out. He's a Baptist, explained after he began attending Catholic school. He was informed by female students that male students were used in the female washrooms. This was an issue that came up in class debate, and I used that platform to share my opinions, as every other student had the opportunity to do. And I quoted some scripture. I said there are only two genders, and apparently because there are transgender students in the class, and this was considered bullying. He also voiced concern with the transgender bathroom policy with the school administration, but it was ignored, along with other concerned students. He organized a school protest last November, 2 days before the scheduled event. He was suspended. It took place outside the school plan on November 25th. Local groups organized a counter-protest calling Alexander's group terror organization. LifeSite News reported that St. Joseph High School informed students participating in Alexander's protest that they would be banned from accessing school transportation. St. Joseph claims that Alexander's actions amount to bullying transgender students. Alexander told EWTN that was not his intent. Alexander is being represented by a law firm, Liberty Coalition Canada, plans to file a human rights complaint for violation of his religious freedom. So, it's all about transgender here. If you're being bullied because you're transgender, you probably should create policies like a transgender bathroom. I mean, I'm not all about transgender, like a man turning into a woman turning into a man. It really doesn't matter. But what matters is the safety here. I mean, if there's bathrooms for men, there's bathrooms for men. If there's bathrooms for women, there should be bathrooms for all women. When you were growing up, people had their bathrooms and some people had their bathrooms. That's what it was growing up. Look, I'm not trying to throw all the transgender people on the bus. I respect everyone who wants to be transgender. Who is transgender. I respect everyone with a grain of salt. Last month, a high school student was suspended and arrested for seeing only two genders. This was the same case. The name of the Diversity of Catholic School Revenue suspended a student who had him arrested for saying there are only two genders. It was Josh Alexander. The same as the line of Catholic teaching that got him suspended. Toronto Sun. This was all in Canada. This was all about the transgender crap. Why is it? Now, 4 days ago, a middle school student was suspended for bringing a BB gun. This was from 93.1 FM. Just 4 days ago, a student in Riverview Middle School in Huntington has been suspended for having an airsoft BB gun. According to a press release from the Community School Corporation, a staff of Riverview were told that a student had brought an airsoft BB gun. The student was searched for a 7 period, and the school staff only found a cartridge with no gun. They never threatened. After school ended, they got a call from the Boys and Girls Club staff. It's the same student in their after-school club. They were bragging about being searched earlier that day. Student search again. This time the BB gun was found. 3-day suspension. A handful of students have been arrested this year for either bringing a real gun to school or for making threats to another student. That's what happens here. And that's exactly what happens. When you make a threat of bringing a gun to school, it's basically the same thing. But what we talked about here is ISS versus OSS. That was from years ago. I think ISS should be good. Not OSS. OSS means you're out of school suspension. But in New York, students can be suspended for an entire school year. Thousands of long-term suspension have been given out while legislature attempts to cap their length at 20 days to continue to fail. But I'm not going to get into that. Coming up next, what is the difference between excused and unexcused absences? We're going to give you some examples from illness that caused unexcused absences, to this mother, to 2 kids who were missing and got a lot of unexcused absences, to a mom who was jailed for her child's unexcused absences when it was basically signed by a contract. Stay with us. Excused absences versus unexcused absences. What is the difference between those two? An excused absence is something like school-sponsored field trips, medical absences, illnesses, family emergencies, funerals. Those are excused absences. Now, things like I overslept, I watched TV, I babysat, I run errands. Those are unexcused absences. And if you have several more unexcused absences, that's borderline truancy. And if you continue having those unexcused absences, you could be facing jail time as a parent. Like this mom in this story here. This was from 8 years ago. 8 years ago, a mom was jailed for her child's school's absences, but when you look at a case scenario here, it's Iowa state law. We'll tell you about that state law in just a minute. But when I watched this, I was kind of stunned that she signed a tenants agreement, but then was still jailed. Like, how can you sign an agreement and still be jailed? Probably because your child kept missing school. This happened in Council Bluffs. A woman said she continues being threatened with arrest over her child's school attendance, despite a court ruling, which she believes sided with her. Take a look.
Holmes kids are up bright.
Take a look at the full thing.
Says she keeps being threatened with arrest over her children's school attendance records.
That's despite a court ruling which she thought sided with her in Council Bluffs. I-Team investigator Alexandra Stone tonight on the attendance agreement and why no one is quite sure how it's enforced.
Sherry Holmes' kids are up bright and early, headed off to school. But it's the days her youngest kids haven't gone to class that got their mom in trouble.
Nobody cares more about my kids' education than me. And for them to tell me that I'm not doing my job as a mother.
Holmes has been arrested at least 3 times because the Council Bluffs Community School District says her twins have missed too many days of school.
They just happen to get sick often.
Holmes' twins were born premature. And even now in middle school, she says they are prone to getting sick. So why jail for their mom?
Each school district in the state of Iowa is responsible for setting their own guidelines as to what is considered a truant child.
In April 2011, the Council Bluffs Community School District referred Holmes to the Potawatomi County Attorney over her children's absences. She signed what's called a mediation agreement.
Basically, I had to sign the contract, or my other option was 30 days in jail. So I just signed the contract.
And under the terms of that contract, the county issued an arrest warrant for Holmes after her two youngest missed a combined 31 days during the next school year. Last spring, another arrest. This after the two children missed a combined 7 days.
They're taking my parenting ability away by telling me what I have to and have to not do.
Holmes thought the challenges were over. Last August, a judge threw out the charges that led to her most recent arrest. The ruling called the mediation agreement unenforceable, but the county attorney's office says the agreement is still in place.
They're never really willing just to close that door completely.
Assistant County Attorney Don Landon says the judge's ruling applies only to Holmes' arrest last spring, and not the agreement she signed back in 2011. The Council Bluffs Community School District declined an interview but says it believes the agreement remains valid. No one we spoke with outside the district seems to have an idea of how these agreements should be enforced. The Iowa Department of Education doesn't monitor them and has no record of how many exist. All that leaves parents like Sherry Holmes wondering whether she'll have to worry about jail the next time her kids are sick.
I'm just fed up with the whole thing because it's just not a, I'm not on the contract anymore. I have a court order that says I'm not on the contract.
Reporting in Council Bluffs, Alexandra Stone, KETV Newswatch 7.
Holmes' lawyer says their next step would have to be suing the school district.
The Potawatomi County Attorney's Office says it received 134 referrals from the school district in 2014.
134 referrals? Wow. That's just... I don't even know how to put this anymore. So... Common sense alert. If you sign an attendance agreement, you need to step up to the plate, talk to your kids, and basically say, look, I signed an attendance agreement. You need to do your part by getting to school. If you have medical issues, I will get you to the doctor. I will make them write an excuse, and you will be excused. I'm not putting up with your crap anymore. Any more of these absences, I'm taking away your phone. That's the way it should be. Not continuing to miss a lot of days of school and then sitting there like going, I don't care she missed more days of school. Like that last woman. You know what? We talked about parents being arrested for truancy, but this is the worst ever. Because when you search on YouTube, parents arrested truancy, like I did here, like this one. Watch this, and then we'll take a break.
Two Georgia parents, Ryan and Stephanie Kane, face charges for a crime you don't often hear about. They may be punished for not sending their kids to school. Truancy.
Channel 4's Chris Brento is joining us live. Chris, police say they had no choice but to charge these two.
They do. That's the claim, according to the St. Mary's Police Department, that these parents allow their children to miss so much time from school without any excuses that they had to make an arrest. That comes even after the mother had signed an agreement with the school district that she would get things under control and the students wouldn't miss any more time. According to the St. Mary's Police Department, Ryan and Stephanie Kane are both facing 4 counts of not sending their children to school, each a misdemeanor. Police say from 2005 through this year, the 4 children have combined for 81 unexcused absences and 117 unexcused tardies. Police say February 9th, the mother was ordered to go before the school board and signed an attendance agreement guaranteeing her children would regularly attend class.
Since that attendance agreement was signed on February 9th, we have an additional 8 days of unexcused absences and an additional 5 days of tardies for pretty much each of the children. They're required to attend some sort of school. And if they fail to attend some sort of school, whether it be private or homeschool or public school, they would be in violation of this law.
We went by an address listed for the family last night to try to talk to the parents. A woman said from behind the door that they were not interested in talking. According to investigators, the reason the parents gave to the school district for why the children were missing so much school time was because they didn't have a working alarm clock. Live this morning, Chris Parento, Channel 4, the local station.
Yeah, right. I don't have a working alarm clock. Good news, bitch. Common sense alert. Like I talked about, if you sign a tenants agreement, get your ass straight. Tell your kids, get your ass straight, get up, get dressed, get to school. I don't want to hear more of your excuses. You want to fake, your child wants to fake sick? I got news for you, buddy. Drag their ass out of bed in their pajamas. Put the clothes in the bag, drag them to school. It don't matter. It don't matter. Doesn't make sense. Does not make sense at all. Okay. Come up next. This woman is suing her college for a hazing secret. A hazing sex secret. We're going to tell you that, and I want the children to look when we return, so stay with us. Throughout this season, one of my main goals is to end the silence on college hazing. But this was silent and has gone on long enough. Just days ago, a woman files a lawsuit against her college from a soccer team that happened. I want to warn you, the things you're about to hear is disturbing. I do not want to watch the kids. So I have to warn you, again, some of this you're about to see is clearly inappropriate for young viewers. Please ask your kids to leave the room. And I'm serious. You really don't want your kids watching this, and it's not going to be fun for you to see it. But for college kids, I really do want you to watch the story, because the story you're about to hear is really disturbing. Take a look.
You're in front of your entire team. You're on a bus. You really have no out.
Naomi Keel smiling in soccer photos, but sick, she says, over hot seat initiation, in which she alleges Westminster soccer players were asked sexually explicit questions in front of their coach. Was this the first time in your awareness that this ever happened, or had this been going on, this initiation, for a long time?
This has been going on for years.
She says this is how she knows.
At the very beginning of this, they sit you down on the bus and they're like, this is not to be recorded. This can't go anywhere. What is said on this bus stays on this bus.
The college says it takes sexual harassment complaints seriously and maintains the privacy of any student's complaints and investigations.
It wasn't right.
Ed Keel, Naomi's father, former NFL and BYU football player, says he filed complaints with the school over the hazing and what he says was retaliation when the coach benched his daughter.
I talked to some of the parents before I filed, and I let them know what I was going to be doing, and I asked them, hey, would you guys like to be part of it? And they're like, no, we don't want to go down that road. We've seen what happened to Naomi.
What's been the reaction from your former teammates?
And once the girls found out, it got really ugly. And I had a lot of girls come to me and be like, oh, you're such a horrible person. You're trying to tear the team apart.
Trying to tear a team apart? Well, it was just part of the report, but common sense alert. Two parts to this. If they tell you not to talk about it, number one, if they tell you not to talk about it, not to talk about it. Number two, you should be claimed a hero for speaking out, coming forward, telling the story. Not being benched. It's like this. Yeah, I'm ready to play. You're not playing. Go sit on the bench right now. I know what you did. Get your ass on that bench. You look crazy. This is just too silent to me. And I'm really glad this happened. Came forward, told her story. Take a look. Take a look at another one.
What the hell?
College is suing the school. A former soccer goalie at Westminster College is suing the school and her former coach for sexual harassment. Fox 13 News reporter Lucy Nelson spoke with 21-year-old Naomi Kell and her father about why they are taking legal action.
You're on your bus ride, and then they just are like, okay, it's time for hot seat.
Initiation traditions for Naomi Kell's soccer team at Westminster College were not what she expected.
You sit directly across from Tony, the head coach, and then they have like the bus spotlight on you, and they give you a microphone, and girls are allowed to ask you like whatever questions they want.
Naomi says she was asked about beard burn, a rash on her chin after kissing a boy, a question she says was only mildly inappropriate compared to the questions her teammates were asked.
Like, what's your favorite sex position?
Going on to get even more explicit, but what was most shocking, she says, is her coach Tony LeBlanc would chime in.
He's like, well, what's beard burn? So he was asking me questions like more in depth about my experiences and things like that, which is super uncomfortable.
As a college athlete and former NFL player, Naomi's father Ed says he understands team bonding rituals, but not this.
The wrong part here is literally you have your male coach. I mean, some of these girls are 17, 18, 19 years old, and he's sitting there participating in this.
Ed says he went to the school and filed a sexual harassment complaint, making it clear he wanted to file it as a Title IX matter. But he says the school investigated it personally.
After the complaint, I got no minutes at all. Like, I never saw the field again, and just was benched. And then we filed a retaliation complaint, and as soon as that retaliation complaint came back out, then I started to play again.
This was all back in 2021. Now Naomi and her father have filed a lawsuit against the school and the coach. I asked them if the school had acted faster and more to their satisfaction, would they be at this point now?
No. The whole thing was people shouldn't have to go through that. In my opinion, I mean, it's my opinion, I don't think he should be coaching.
The school released this statement to us saying they take sexual harassment concerns very seriously. At this point, they haven't been served legal papers regarding the lawsuit and don't know what has been alleged. Naomi now says soccer isn't the same for her. She has transferred twice and is now trying school as a non-athlete.
I mean, I put basically everything on the line to do this. I mean, I lost my scholarships, I lost team, it was a hard thing, and not a lot of people can do it. So just, I feel like it was important to be that voice for people, because not everyone can speak up.
I also reached out to the coach for comment, but haven't heard back yet. In Sugar House, Lucy Nelson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
But if the coach came forward and told his side of the story, maybe then I would throw common sense to his thick skull and say, what the hell? I would just yell at him and say, what the hell is wrong with you? And if I heard anything like that while sitting on the bus, I would just walk up to them and say, "What are you doing? What would you expect them to happen? You wouldn't be asking me these questions if you were chasing me around with a stick." You could have provoked me even more now if you put me in a cage, put me with a stick. This scared the bejeebers out of me. First it was a hazing, now it's sexual harassment. Give me a break here. Common sense is being thrown at us like you should be asking these type of questions on a school bus. The coach should have put a stop to this. Hadn't the coach put a stop to this last year, this would never have happened. That girl would have still been on that team. That girl would have won. No transfer to schools, and we'll be right back. Several seasons ago, we did a show about in-school suspension versus out-of-school suspension. Now, out-of-school suspension means you cannot be allowed in school. In-school suspension means there is a room you sit in to do your work. There was one clip I've watched several times about the ISS class expectations. Take a look from Michael Williams.
Hello, I'm Mr. Williams, the teacher of ISS, or in-school suspension. I'm here to talk to you about the class expectations and the dress code. Class expectations. Upon entering the room, all cell phones, iPods, earbuds, and any other electronic device will be turned in and will be stored under lock and key, kept there for the duration of the academic day. Backpacks and purses are not allowed at the school, but if you brought a backpack or a purse, it will be searched, it will be turned in, and it will be kept for the duration of the day. Upon entering the room, you will be assigned a seat, and that will be your seat, and you will sit there unless instructed to sit in a different location. There will be no talking. There will be no socializing throughout the academic day unless instructed either by myself or a supervising teacher or staff. There will be no outside food. So in other words, there will be no McDonald's, no hot Cheetos, no Arizona tea or Monster brought to you by yourself or by someone else. You will always be supervised by a supervising teacher or myself at all times. It is a district policy that anyone that is in ISS do not have any socialization or communication with an AFC student, a Cal student, or a Fairview student. Dress code. The dress code is you will wear the white shirt and yellow tie that was issued to you. It will be tucked in. You will wear the appropriate pants and shorts for the school. There will be absolutely no sagging in this class. There will be no open-toe shoes, slippers, or sandals worn in ISS. There will be no basketball shorts. There will be no sweatpants or pajamas worn in ISS. All earrings, gauges, or piercings will be taken out prior to entering the room. And finally, there will be no hats, beanies, or any type of headgear worn inside the classroom. Any violation of the expectations or the dress code will result in an immediate phone call home or a visit by the principal or assistant principal, and in worst case, you will receive another day in ISS. Thank you for showing up. Let us be cool and finally take care of business. Thank you.
Now, those were the class expectations. So, in-school suspension is just you sit in a room and you do work. Jack Doherty was one of those people who got in-school suspension for skipping a lot of class. So he filmed this in-school suspension. Then after that video was posted, his assistant principal told him he got another day of ISS because he posted on YouTube. But he was not allowed to film on school property. Because if he did, the superintendent would have to come in, have a meeting, and Hoskins Cabin. I mean, this is what he told his viewers. Now, if he had found out he told everyone about this, they would have had him remove the video, or worst case scenario, have a resource officer investigate every one of his videos. I gotta tell you, when I was in school, I never had in-school suspension. Never. Never, in all my years, have I ever received in-school suspension. Never in my 20 plus years of going to school have I ever got in-school suspension or OSS. There ain't no way I've ever gotten suspended. I never got suspended from school or anywhere else. Huh. Let's take a look at this viral video as an example.
No talking. I'm gonna walk you guys down to the cafeteria in a single file line. You do not get out for no reason. I'm only saying this once. Yo, you bugging. Yo, why you treat us like we prisoners or something? What was that, Mr. Bradell? Why we getting treated like we in jail? Talk again, and you'll be in ISS for another day.
So that was it. That was the whole video. Probably got nothing else to talk about here. I'll be back in a moment. Now a story that raises a bunch of common sense. An assistant principal is now in court for having cocaine in school. The cocaine was found in an employee-only bathroom where students weren't allowed. So what was really going on? Here's Joel Harris.
Jessica Sanchez?
Yes, sir.
Jessica Sanchez, an assistant principal at Travis Elementary School in Baytown, is facing a third-degree felony charge after she brought cocaine to school, according to court documents.
Ms. Sanchez, you've got one case on the docket.
The Goose Creek CISD assistant principal made an initial appearance in court Wednesday, charged with possession of a controlled substance in a drug-free zone.
I do find that there is sufficient probable cause for the case to go forward.
According to court records, Sanchez dropped the cocaine in a school bathroom and was later caught with more cocaine in her car. In a statement to parents, Goose Creek CISD said in part, "We are cooperating fully with the criminal investigation and will move forward swiftly to end the staff member's employment with the district." According to prosecutor, Sanchez admitted to officers that she had done cocaine before school Wednesday morning. Sanchez was granted a $5,000 personal bond with conditions.
No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and I do want drug testing.
If convicted, she could face up to 2 to 10 years in jail. In Baytown, Gerald Harris, KHOU 11 News.
Okay. Common sense alert. First of all, you don't bring cocaine in a drug-free zone. You don't do it. If you do, you could be arrested for possession of drugs. And I'm glad this judge drove common sense down her throat. Because really, if a student was caught with cocaine, drug testing would happen. Now if a student was snuck into there and found that cocaine and reported to them, that student would not be suspended, but it'd be with the principal. But there's more cocaine in her car? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. There's now an investigation going on in Stewart County where bullying is happening from Uvalde. Take a look at this.
2 seconds. Eric, will...
A national nonprofit formed in response to the Uvalde, Texas elementary school mass shooting is now investigating bullying at one local middle school. The Uvalde Foundation for Kids, dedicated to ending school violence, is looking into bullying at Stewart County Middle School. Some claim that harassment led to a student's recent suicide. Parents and students have reported this increasing behavior after the announcement the foundation opened a 24-hour anti-bullying and crisis intervention line for students. The foundation also began independent interviews with school officials.
That was good. Now our next story.
Best interests of Akron educators, students, parents, and our...
Can you ever imagine violence happening in your schools as a teacher and you just threaten them saying, if none is being done, I'm going to walk out. It's exactly what happened in this case. Take a look.
Strike. Akron Public notice to strike. Akron Public Schools and the Akron Education Association have 10 days to come to an agreement before Akron teachers walk off the job. Emma Henderson explains how we got here.
Rather than supporting them, we're being asked as educators to accept more and more violent language, violent assaults, violent behaviors from our students, and we have had enough.
Violence and lack of protection are two of the main reasons Akron Public Schools was put on a 10-day strike notice today, according to President of the Akron Education Association, Pat Shipe. At this point, teachers have been working under a contract that expired June 30th of 2022. Akron Public Schools respects and values its teachers and the work they do for children every day. We know that if we keep negotiating, we can reach an agreement in the best interests of Akron educators, students, parents, and our community. That's part of a comment from the district's director of communications. Shipe says the district refuses to answer simple questions the union has asked, and they're growing more concerned.
We have had loaded weapons on a regular basis. We have had stabbings in our school. We have violent fights breaking out almost on a daily basis in our school. We have teacher assaults occurring.
Now the union has laid it out on the table. 10 days to negotiate or we strike. APS is prepared to stay at the table day in and day out to resolve this situation and keep children learning. We hope the Akron Education Association shares this commitment with us. That's part of a comment from the district's director of communications. Shipe says the last thing they want is a strike because no one wins in that scenario, but believes it's the only option the AEA has left if negotiations don't change.
20% of our teaching positions are unfilled, and they're being filled with either nobody or unqualified people in many cases.
The Akron School Board had an emergency meeting tonight, but we don't know what was discussed because it was all done under executive session. But this is a story we will continue to follow. Laura? I know you will, and an important one, as so many people are on edge, parents, students, teachers, staff, because of this. All right, Emma, thank you.
Wow. Now in Chicago, there's now another fight happening. There's now more fights happening in every school. To throw common sense in for teachers. Strike if you want. But ain't no but about it.
Demanding more be done about a safer...
Take a look at this.
New here at 10, angry and upset teachers from Oak Park River Forest packed a school board meeting demanding more be done about a safer school. They say fights like these are too common at school. CBS 2's Charlie DeMar was there and joins us live now from Oak Park. Charlie?
And Joe, good evening. That board meeting was filled with teachers. Several of them spoke, and the common theme was their safety. Specifically, them not feeling safe in the hallways here at the school. They were also there to throw their support behind a new safety plan that would bring more security to the school. Scenes like these, all-out brawls in the halls of Oak Park River Forest High School has teachers asking for help.
So many adults, security, and teachers alike have been hurt doing their jobs.
I worry and I get nervous when I come into the building thinking, what's going to happen today? Am I going to have to break up a fight? Am I going to have to console some kids? Am I going to have to wrangle some kids in who are all jazzed up because there's been a fight and they want to show the video to everyone that they can?
School administrators acknowledge an increase in socialization struggles leading to fights and other negative outbursts.
For a lot of us who work here, it feels like a matter of not if, but when something worse happens.
This school year through March 2nd, there's been 480 infractions compared to 403 at the same point last year, an increase of 19%. Hallway infractions alone are up 50% compared to this time a year ago.
You cannot learn if you do not feel safe in the building. That is something that they drilled in us in college.
School leaders, with the support of its teachers, are proposing a new safety plan, which includes hiring 6 full-time safety positions, security camera monitoring, guards stationed near elevators, bathrooms, and other problem areas, reassigning 2 evening officers to the day. The estimated cost, $288,000.
Hope that you guys put the functioning of the inside of this building above optics or dollar signs. Thank you.
Now, during the discussion portion of tonight's meeting, the school board unanimously supported this safety plan, but did raise a couple concerns and asked school administrators to make cuts to its budget to balance it, since it does come with such a hefty price tag. The school board also was concerned about whether or not this plan just puts a Band-Aid on the problem and doesn't get at the root cause. We are live from Oak Park and River Forest High School. Charlie DeMar, CBS 2 News. Joe? Charlie, thank you.
I'm glad this was brought up. All right. Can you ever imagine skipping more? Can you imagine that more high school kids are skipping college? I'm going to answer the question for you when we return. Stay with us. Are you planning on going to college after high school? What if I told you that more high school students are skipping college? It's a trend that started 3 years ago when the pandemic hit. But now there are some concerns. Take a look.
The future of higher education could be a rocky one. The National Student Clearinghouse finds college enrollment across the country declined by 6% from 2019 to 2022. It's the steepest drop on record since 2018, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
I was like, yeah, this isn't it for me.
Hundreds of thousands of young adults who finished high school during the course of the pandemic are opting out of college, citing obscenely high costs and not wanting to get into crippling debt.
I was seeing so many people go to college and dropping out, not making it, and they were getting degrees that they weren't even using.
Instead, many are forging their own paths.
As the economy is booming and there are jobs available, the students do tend to go into the workplace, especially post-pandemic. What we're seeing is that students can't seem to resist sign-on bonuses and wages that far exceed any that they've seen before.
And while some may eventually pursue college in the future, people like Grace and Hart are currently landing jobs doing what they love. Hart is directing theater at a local program in Jackson, Tennessee, a year after graduating high school.
A college degree hasn't pushed me any farther, and it's not holding me back from any of it, so why do I want to put in all the money to get a piece of paper that really isn't going to help in what I'm doing right now?
Meanwhile, researchers at the Education Data Initiative report the average student racks up more than $30,000 in debt while trying to earn a bachelor's degree. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
That's hard. That's probably harsh. Well, again, it was during the pandemic, so it's like after 9/11 where people started throwing shit at the Green Goblin when Spider-Man happened. That's no joke. But it didn't happen, Spider-Man. Nah, I'm messing with y'all. But if you didn't watch Spider-Man, if you saw that scene Spider-Man where they throw shit at Green Goblin, actually that comment was from Nostalgia Critic, so I'm not gonna get into that, but alright. Has there any been more violence in our schools? Well, 8 days ago, there was a video. You heard me. There was a video that was going around, and parents are concerned after that violent video. And I should warn you, the scenes you're about to see is just explicit, so let's take a look.
St. Johns County parents raising concern after this clip circulated online showing one student attacking another at Switzerland Point Middle School. Those families want to know why no one appeared to step in and why the school wasn't more transparent about what happened in the classroom and the hallway.
Yeah, News for Jax reporter Joe McLean joining us live from Switzerland Point Middle School. And Joe, I know you spoke to several of those parents, but that includes the parents of that student who was attacked.
Right, then they're just mortified with what happened to their child and mortified at this fight, which happened on Wednesday. And according to students who witnessed it, they said it extended out into the hallway. Part of the hallway, they said, even had to be shut down as custodial staff cleaned up blood. Now, the parents that I spoke to, including the parents of the student who appeared to be attacked, they want answers.
These are images from that video that raised the alarms of parents at Switzerland Point Middle School. It was captured Wednesday by the cell phone of someone inside that classroom and shows a student wielding a chain wrapped around their fist, beating and stomping on another student.
He was just blindsided by the whole thing and didn't even know it was coming. So he couldn't even defend himself if he wanted to.
That's the mother of the student who was attacked, who spoke with me over the phone.
I'm afraid of the repercussions that might happen with the other students that are friends with this kid. I don't know what to do. I have no answer. All I get from the school is we can't tell you.
According to the students who witnessed the fight, it continued out into the hallway, and custodial staff had to keep the area clear in order to clean up blood. That afternoon, a short memo was emailed to parents saying an incident occurred that caused the hallways to be cleaned, and that at no point during this was the safety of our students compromised. This parent of a Switzerland Point student got that message. She asked not to be identified.
It's just a very cryptic, non-transparent email, making it seem like there was a spill or some type of mess in the hallway.
It wasn't until her son got home from school that she learned what actually happened.
He proceeded to just tell me that there was a fight at school that day, and that there was blood in the hallway, that this child was bleeding, which then made me realize exactly what that email was about.
The word of mouth spread, fueled by the violent video clip shared among the school's parents, who called and emailed the school and the St. Johns County District demanding answers. Late Thursday night, Principal Linda Carnall sent a follow-up email confirming that 2 fights had occurred, which were handled according to district policy, and that EMS was not called to the campus. She added a warning against students filming and sharing videos on campus, which is a violation of student conduct policy. This parent, who also asked to remain anonymous, says she was frustrated with the school's lack of transparency.
The second email that came out yesterday from the principal would not have had happened if parents weren't calling or emailing. By just saying there was a cleanup in the hallway that needed to be done, it's very vague and it's kind of shady.
Now, the district spokesperson for the district said that there's things they can't tell us because of federal law, because of FERPA. They said they can't disclose whether the student is being disciplined or whether they were referred to law enforcement. Now, the parents I spoke to said they hope that the parent of this child who was attacked presses criminal charges. Now, according to the parents of the student who was attacked, he suffered a fractured nose, as well as facial scars and bruises. They tell me they're planning to explore their legal options. Reporting live, I'm Joe McLean, Channel 4, the local station.
And I really hope that they find those legal options. Back in a moment with our viral break. If you thought a homeless person taking a shit in a mop bucket made you laugh your pants off until you cried, wait till you see this one. This homeless man takes a freaking shower in the tray. Yeah, look at this. That's why here at the broadcast, we like to have a little fun by showing you guys some very funny videos. And if you have a viral video you're looking for me to show, send it to me, and I will laugh my ass off at the end of the show. But ain't nothing funny. Coming up on Sunday, it's our Give Me a Break Oscar special. We're looking back 1 year ago when Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. Everybody hates Chris. If you know that song, last year, if you remember last year, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Now he's suspended for 10 years. And throughout tomorrow, we are going to look at that, and we're also going to end great news. The popcorn guy, my old friend Jason Grabowski, is going to the Oscars. So I'm really excited for that. I may talk to him, message him saying if he wants, message him so and so, blah 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 blah. And Monday, the after Oscar special. I may talk to him right after the Oscars. So that's what we got planned. That's Give Me a Break for the Saturday going to Sunday. A reminder, we'll see you for a special Give Me a Break on Sunday. That's a special Give Me a Break Sunday. Sunday morning or Sunday evening, depending on, maybe Sunday morning. For all of us here at YouTube, have a good night.